Hi, today I'm doing a VR to the hashtags 5 tarot decks challenge. I saw this originally on The Waves of Your Soul. I love her channel. I am obsessed. She's doing a lot of videos in December, so check that out. But the original tag was created by Cassandra from A Riffle in Time. I'm pretty sure this was adjusted from a book tag to create a tarot chat tag, and I did that as well earlier this month. I'll link it somewhere on the screen or down below so you can watch mine as well. But it's just 5 questions to prompt a talk about 5 different tarot decks. Hi, I'm Ruby, here to help improve your tarot practice through my tarot chats and deck reviews. Let's get into the questions. Number 1, show us a deck you're currently using. So I did put out an entire video on decks for Yule, but one of them is the Intuitive Night Goddess. One other that I'm using a lot is also in this pile under a different question, so you're gonna see that as well. But this is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. This is a deck that I only pull for myself. I edged it black myself, by the way. I only use this for the readings for myself. I cannot explain it. This is a deck that is super personal to me. It got to know me in like no time. Like after one reading, I feel like it already knew my deepest, darkest secrets, and it confronts me on it, but like in an empowering way, you know. it is confronting, but it is empowering. And funny thing is, I didn't really think this deck was like super pretty, and I still don't, but I got this from a subscriber because it was on my wish list. I was really curious about this deck, and then a subscriber got this for me, and I just so connected with it. Like, oh my god, this was probably one of the decks that I connected with most last year because I got it last year. This is a pretty card. I really do like this with the flowers, and that is what I like about it. There's like the dark night background, but we also have the flowers in pretty much not every card, but in some cards have rainbows. We have animals. I like that the goddesses aren't like deities from a specific pantheon, but they're just like everyday people who embody that goddess energy, and I really appreciate that. I really like that. So yeah, I do talk about this deck quite often, I think. And some cards like this one are super RWS, and then some ones are not. So I love this deck. This is a deck, like I said, I'm currently using, and this is part of my Yule decks, or decks for Yule season, that I'm using this Yule season. And this is one that I'm only using for myself. Number 2, show us your last 5-star tarot deck. So I haven't worked with a lot of the decks that I've gotten since this deck, I think enough to really give it 5 stars. I got the Unfolding Path Tarot in August, so I have definitely done some work with it. Some of my favorite cards are still on top from my end of the year tarot tag. Click the video like below to watch that. So these are some of my favorite cards. But it was really hard to pick my favorite card from this deck. Oh my god, this is so stunning. Because the cards in this deck are just so freaking beautiful. And that is why this is 5 stars, because the artwork is stunning. I connected with it. I love the art style. I love the inclusivity, the diversity here, because this is one of the very few decks that actually does age diversity. I already saw it in one of my favorite cards here with the Page of Cups. We often see, we like never see elderly people, and if we see elderly people, it's in like a Hierophant or something where it's supposed to be old, or it's like in a 6 of Cups, or maybe a generational, like a 10 of Pentacles or a 10 of Cups, you know, where we see multiple generations, but we never see an elderly person depicted as a page. And I thought it was really great because pages, yes, have that young energy, but it doesn't mean that elderly people cannot like embody young energy. So I'm just gonna flip through this a little quickly, but it's absolutely freaking stunning. This is one of those decks that or one of those cards that I really love as well. Yeah, this is beautiful, and I'm super excited about this. And now flipping through it, abso-fucking-lutely is it a 5-star. I love this one as well. The aces in this deck are really stunning too. So yeah, and this is a deck that leans, energy-wise, leans a little spiritual for me in the readings. That is also something that I just have to get used to and that I have to, I think, feel a little bit more comfortable with, because it is where I want my practice to start leaning a little bit more, because I've been very, very grounded and very down to earth. And I think this deck challenges me to go a little bit beyond, I guess. So yeah, 5-star tarot deck. Number 3, show us a tarot deck you keep putting off using and you need help making yourself use it. This one, you guys. I have not been using this deck because it is hard on my eyes, okay? I talked about this in the other tag as well, but the cards are dark, but the artwork on the cards is also kind of dark. Like, not in every card. Like, this is bright, but in some cards, I just find it really hard to see what is going on, and it's making it really hard for me to connect with the card, to have like intuitive thoughts, intuitive readings about the card. I don't know all the animals on the card, and that is one reason that I got this deck, because I want to connect with that animal energy in the cards. And this guidebook does have a section where it talks about the specific animal on the card and what it means and all of that. So that is cool, and that is what I bought it for. But then I just never ended up reaching for it. And I don't know, like, when is the right season to reach for a deck like this? Now that I'm doing my seasonal deck picks, what is a good season to work with this deck? Let me know what you think. Like, Wheel of the Year wise. So we're now coming out of Yule almost when this video goes live. Yeah, it's like on that edge. So, but look at this. This is so dark. I can barely tell what is going on in the card. So this might be a deck that I sell, to be honest. I don't know if this is going to be a keeper in my collection, because I have other decks that I love that I would much rather reach for. So why would I keep a deck that I'm not enjoying, that I have to force myself to use? Just things to think about. Number 4, show a tarot deck you feel is very underrated on TarotTube. I don't know if I'm just not watching the people who talk about this deck, so let me know if I'm dead wrong on this. But I feel like the White Newman Tarot doesn't get talked about a lot. So I feel like on TarotTube there are some newer decks that get talked about a lot, because, you know, it's new and it's fun, and those videos on new decks often get a lot of hype, often get a lot of views. So I totally understand. I do the same thing. But there are also some decks that have been out longer that still get a lot of love because they're just staples for people. And I don't get that same feeling for the White Newman Tarot, and I think it's a shame, because I do think that this is a really, really beautiful deck. And wait, what is going on here? Right, it does come with 2 cards that I don't like. It has the White Newman and the Black Newman. I don't care. I keep having to look up the meanings of these cards in a guidebook, so I keep them apart and I just use the 78 cards in a tarot. Oh my god, but this is so pretty. I feel like this definitely has Imbolc energy, so I might get it out for Imbolc. But maybe also Ostera, I don't know, somewhere around. Reversals, like a lot of them in it. Usually after I read with reversals, I put it back in the original, like I put it all upright again, because I feel like reversals that I put in my deck for the last reading don't necessarily have to be reversed for this reading. I don't know. It's a thing that I do. But yeah, I think it's so beautiful. There are like naked titties in here, if that bothers you. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, I think this deck is stunning. I really like the readings with this as well. I think it has a very neutral voice. It isn't super confronting, but it also isn't necessarily gentle. So again, I think it has a really good balance. And yeah, again, my biggest draw to this is just that I think it is stunning. And that might be superficial, but that is a reason why, first of all, why I get a deck, because I think the artwork is beautiful. But also why I want to use a deck, because I think it's pretty and I want to look at the images, you know, and I want to get meaning from them. So that is the White Lumen Tarot. Tell me, please tell me if you think this deck is also underrated. And it's not that people say they don't like it. I just don't see it talked about. Again, maybe I'm on the wrong side of TarotTube and there are people who are talking about these kinds of decks. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Would love to check that out. And then deck number 5, show a tarot deck you think everyone should have. This is super hard, right? Because tastes are so different. Some people like really light decks, some people like really dark decks, some people prefer oracles or tarots. I mean, the question here is a tarot deck. So what I'm going to do for this one is, if you want to buy any, like a indie deck, an indie tarot deck, and you're not really sure which one is worth the money because maybe you live like me in Europe and shipping an indie deck from the US is really expensive, I think this is the indie deck that I would recommend to anyone. And it's the sooo Tarot. So if you've been sleeping on this and you're like, I usually don't buy indie decks, but I would like to own one, maybe. Like if it was really worth the money, I would say the sooo Tarot is. Absolutely. And I slept on this for a little bit because it is an indie deck and I don't often buy indie decks just because I live in the Netherlands, and not only is the shipping expensive, the shipping can be 10 to 20 bucks. And then I also have to pay like, I don't know, 15 to 25 bucks when it comes in, like for customs. Plus already indie decks are more expensive than mass market decks, so it doesn't really always feel like it's worth it. This deck I was able to get through a Dutch website, so that was really, really convenient for me. I didn't get it from tarot.nl, I got it from indietarot.nl. I think it's .nl. I'll link it down below. So if you are from around the Netherlands and you're interested in getting this indie deck, I think it is a really good deal because you don't have to pay the customs, and the shipping is a fraction of what the shipping would cost if you buy it from the US. But overall, if you want to get an indie deck, I think this is absolutely beautiful. I think the balance in this deck is really beautiful because it is modern, but it doesn't show like I have my Wake Me Up Tarot, and you see cell phones and all that sort of things, laptops in those. And I think that is really good for, you know, for some people, and I like it. But this feels modern because of the clothing. But it's inclusive. I like that too. It's a bit more diverse than some other decks. But it's just beautiful. The art style, I think, is beautiful. This is always, I always find this card strange. Let me know your thoughts on this card. I find it strange. I don't hate it, but I find it strange. And when I read with this deck, it is just spot on every time. I can do private readings with this. I do client readings with this. I've done political tarot readings with this. I can do any type of reading I want with this deck just because it is so well balanced. It is not too gentle. It's not too confronting. It is just, for me, the absolute beautiful balance of everything. There's not too much feminine energy in here either. There is some masculine energy in here as well, which I know some of you will appreciate too. So again, I just find this deck to be the perfect balance. There is a little bit of nudity, if that is something that hopefully you don't mind, because I don't think nudity is inherently sexual. I don't know, I've said that before, but yeah. Okay, we're almost at the end. Might as well show you the last few cards as well, because I love this deck. I think it's absolutely amazing. If you want to get any indie deck, if you're like, I'm only gonna once spend money on an indie deck because of the costs, I highly recommend this one. Sesarabito Tarot. I really hope you enjoyed hearing my answers to these questions, and if you want to hear me talk about more tarot decks, then check out this tag that I created. I readjusted it from the end of year book tag to end of year tarot tag. Link is on the screen right now. Subscribe to watch more Tarot Chats deck reviews. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!